Hey guys, this is your video on dilations of on the coordinate plane. This will help you with the IXL's Q2 and Q3 at 80% that we will be working on. So make sure that you have these for you. And the first couple ones here are just kind of some touch and base of what we talked about from yesterday about the Alice in Wonderland stuff that we had. So this is if the scale factor is given to you. Remember, that's what you use to multiply your x and y values. So what we're going to do here is when we take these, we're going to find the x and y values are ordered pair. And we're going to take that and basically we're going to multiply that by our scale factor. So what I mean by that is if you had an ordered pair, say 1, 2, and we were scale factoring it by a factor of 2, you would then take 2 times 1, which was 2, and 2 times 2, which is 4, and that would be your new ordered pair. So you would take the ordered pair, multiply it by your scale factor, and you would get your new value for that. And obviously we talked about what happens if the scale factor is bigger than 1. Our image actually, is going to be bigger. And if the scale factor is less than 1, our image should be smaller. So that just kind of helps you there in that case. So if it's bigger than 1, you know you're going to get bigger. If it's less than 1, you know you're going to get smaller. Okay? Well, what happens when I have a few things where it says take your two pictures and find the scale factor? Well, if you remember the formula that we use, it is the image divided by the pre-image, or the new over the old or the original. And what I mean by that is if you had an ordered pair, say, I don't know, let's think of one here, 9, 3, and it goes down to 3, 1, you would take the 9 divided by, or you would take the 3 over the 9, which would give you 1/3, and then you would also do the 1 over the 3, which would also give you 1/3. So that would be your scale factor. This would be my image, this is my pre-image, and I would just put it into my formula and go from there. So that's basically what we're doing here. So basically it's just some multiplying and some dividing back and forth as we go. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of what happens here. So here's our first one that we have, and you can notice here that they do give us the scale factor. So we're going to be using this part here. We're going to be multiplying the ordered pairs in number 1, and in this case. So here's our scale factor we have. Our scale factor is 1/3. And the first thing we need to do is, yes, you need to get some paper out and stuff. I want to write down the pre-image. What is the beginning part of this? So if I look at my pre-image, I have points A, B, C, and D. So point A, B, C, and D. And if I write those down, A is located at -6, 3. B is located at 6, 3. C is located at 6, -3. And D is located at -6, -3. So that's where it is currently right now. That's my pre-image that I have. It's this part right here in the yellow. And I just listed my ordered pairs. Now, what I need to do is I want to find out what's going to happen to this image when I dilate this. Is it going to be bigger or smaller? Well, my scale factor is smaller than 1. It's less than 1, so I know that this is going to shrink. So I know this is going to be smaller than my pre-image because of the scale factor of 1/3. So all I need to do here is I'm going to take each one of these points and I'm going to multiply it by 1/3. Or you can divide by 3. So to show you here, I'm going to put in my numbers here. Times 1/3, times 1/3, times 1/3, times 1/3. And when I do that here on my handy dandy calculator, I'm going to take 1/3 times -6. So turn that on there, Mr. O. 1/3 times the x value. Tells me it's now -2. So when I've shrunk 6 by 1/3, it turns into -2. 3 times 1/3 gives me 1. So there's my new ordered pair right there. -2, 1. Do the same thing here. Take my 6, Multiply that by 1/3, gives me 2. Take my 3 here, my y value, by 1/3, and do it each one. So 3 times 1/3 will give me 1, so there's my new point. I do the same thing here, 6 times 1/3, because I'm shrinking it, should give me 2. -3 times 1/3 will give me -1. Then I have -6 times 3, 1/3, I'm sorry, which will give me -2. And -3 times 1/3, which will give me -1. So those are my new points here. Those are my new points for my image, and I can graph that onto my thing, my XY plane, and you will see that it will make me a smaller rectangle here. So I have -2, 1. There's my A prime. B prime is at 2, 1. C prime is at 2, -1. And then D prime is at -2, -1. And you can see my green rectangle, which is my image, has gotten smaller. So I know that it's happened there in this case. So basically what I did there was I just dilated this one down, been able to find my new points, and you can see because it's smaller than 1, I've got a new smaller rectangle there in this case. So that's basically what we did. Just to kind of recap, I listed my ordered pairs, multiplied it by the scale factor, and got my new points. That's what Q2 is going to ask you to do, and that's what you're going to do on your homework here. Let's look at one more example of this one here. If you flip over to the second page here, let's look at one that's going to be dilated here. Let's do number 5 here if you need this one. This one is just a triangle. And so this is also giving us the scale factor. So we know that we need to take that scale factor and we're going to multiply it by each one of these points. And then we can be able to see. Well, let's think about it. 3/2. 3/2, is that bigger than 1 or smaller than 1? So if I take 3 divided by 2, it gives me 1.5. Since this is 1.5, it's bigger than 1. So my image is going to be larger. It's going to grow. So I should end up with a bigger triangle in this case. So the first things first I need to know is what do I need to have to multiply by the 1.5 to find my new points. So I take my points that I have an I, J, and a K. I is located at 0, 4. J is located there at 4, -2. And K is located at -4, -2. So now I take these numbers and I'm going to multiply it by my scale factor. So I just write them down here. There they are. I'm going to multiply it by 1.5, each one of those. And I should get numbers that are bigger than what I have right now. So it's going to enlarge my triangle. So let's see what we have. I'm going to take the 0 times 1.5, which is 0. 4 times 1.5 gives me 6. So there's my new point for I is going to be 0, 6. You can see that it's gotten bigger. I'm going to do the next one. 4 times 1.5. 4 times 1.5 gives me 6. Then take my -2 times 1.5 gives me -3. So there's my new ordered pair there, 6, -3. Then I have my next one here, -4 times 1.5 gives me -6. And 2 times -1/2, or in this case, it's going to give me -3. Okay, so all I did there was just take my ordered pairs. -4 times 1.5 got 6. 2 times 1.5 got -3. I now have my new points that I can graph there. Let's do that one in green here. So there are my new points that I'm going to put. And it should be a bigger triangle here than my original. So let's see what happens. So I put my first point here at 0, 6. That's I prime. 6, -3. J prime. And then my last one here was at 6, -6, -3. That's K. That's right here. And you can see that my triangle here has gotten bigger than my pre-image, which I'll make in yellow here for you. So here's my pre-image. So you can see that my triangle has grown by a factor of 1.5. So my triangle there has gotten bigger in this case. So basically when they give you the scale factor, list your points, multiply them, put in your new points there for you, and you'll be able to do that pretty well for you. If you did number 4, if you looked here, number 4 is the same way. It tells you the scale factor. Your scale factor is 2. So if I were to make this, I would have a bigger shape in this case because the factor is bigger than 1, so I'd end up with a bigger shape in that case. Okay? So that's how you would do the first couple ones there using your scale factor. But what happens now if they give you the two shapes and you need to find out what is the scale factor being used? That's what I'm trying to find out here. I want to know what did they multiply by to get the new shape that they have. And that goes back to what we lead to in this page right here. I have to use this ratio of the new image divided by the original image, or my image divided by the pre-image in this case. So let's take a look at those and see how we can do those parts as we go forward. So if I look at it here, I'm going to take my yellow highlighter, and the yellow part is going to be my pre-image there. That's the old one. Okay, that's my pre-image. And then my new shape is, it looks like it's gotten bigger, the one in the green right there. Okay, and all I need to know is basically they're all going to increase every point by the same amount. I just need 1 point. So I'm going to take L. L is located at, if I look here, is 4, 8. And my new L is located at 5, 10. Okay, so this one was on the yellow triangle. This one was on the green triangle. So I need to know, well, how did I scale this one up? So I got to check. I got to check these things, and remember, it's going to be, this would be my new, this is my old. So it's new over old. So it becomes 5 over 4. And when I do 5 over 4, like that, it gives me a decimal 1.25, or I can leave it as a fraction, 5/4. I check the other one here, 10 over 8. Does it give me the same thing? It should, 10 over 8, 1.25, so the y's match up with the x's. If I want to leave that as a fraction, 5/4 is the same thing. So 5/4 would be my solution, or 1.25 would be my scale factor. That's my scale factor. So I scaled up the yellow triangle by 1.25, and I got a bigger triangle there in the green. You can see that it should match up because the yellow triangle is smaller than the green triangle. All right, let's look at number 7. You're going to have the same type of deal here. So if we have number 7, remember I need to find where they are. So here we have the yellow is going to be my image, my pre-image, or my old, or my original. And then I shrunk it to this green one. So that automatically tells me, since it's got smaller, my scale factor should be less than 1. So I'm going to get one that's going to be less than 1 on this one, because I shrunk. So once again, I just need to find any 2 points here. So let's see here, from my old, I'm going to do R, and my new, R prime. So here's R from my old on the yellow triangle. It's at 9, 3. And R prime on my green triangle, which is my new point, is at 3, 1. So there they are. I need to highlight those for you. There they go. Okay. After I've done that now, I can be able to take those and just use my equation here, the new over the old. Check both of them. It's going to be 3 over 9, which equals 1/3. Check my y values here, same thing. 1 over 3, which is the same thing. So there they are. So my scale factor is 1/3. That's my scale factor for this one. There we go. So that is my scale factor, and I'm good to go for that one, and I'm done on that one. That's basically how I find my scale factor. Just check my points from each one. If I go down here in number 8 and number 9, I'll do 2 of these. It's the same thing. I just need to find my new and my old. So here's my old one. Here's my new one. Just remember using my ratio, 6 by 9. When I simplify that, 6 by 9 here, I get that, but I want to use it as a fraction, so math enter twice. Gives me 2/3. There you go. So my scale factor there is 2/3. Pretty straightforward. I do another one here, find out what the scale factor is for this one. It looks like that these are getting bigger. It looks like they've increased, so I should get something bigger than 1. There's my new, there's my old. 12 over 10. So let's put that in here. 12 divided by 10, get 1.2. So my scale factor there is 1.2 is my scale factor. So you can tell that it's gotten bigger. If I look at number 10 here, it should be the same thing. Here's my old, my new. There, use my ratio. So I'm looking for the scale factor that was used to dilate this. Did it get bigger or smaller? Let's look at it here. It looks like this has gotten a little bit longer, so I think we should get one that's bigger than this. So we'll just use -9 over -1. That gives me 9. So there it is. Now, if I use 0 over 0, it won't give me anything. So I got to make sure I use that one there on that case. So my scale factor there is 9. Scale factor. So I increased that one. So this one got bigger, this one got bigger, and this one got smaller. That's pretty much what you're doing here when you do these things that you look at. So basically, just to kind of recap, if you do number 5, you're taking your x values and you're multiplying it by the scale factor, and you take the y values and you multiply it by the scale factor, and that's basically what you get. When you do here, you're going to use your formula, the new divided by the old, and voila, you get your solution. Okay, so you've got a couple of questions here that's going to help you. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are just like the 2 examples, 1 and 5 that we did. Make sure you list your pairs and multiply them by that. You can represent this by just showing me what you multiplied by, right? You should say, oh, x is going to be multiplied by 1.5, and y is going to be multiplied by 1.5, and that's how we show it. Then you have a couple here that are just like on the ones we just did on the bottom. Tell me the scale factors. Okay? Thank you very much. Enjoy the video.